Today's story is about a duende, and I can assure you I have never read a story like this. But before that, I got a package in my PO box from Sandria. I hope I'm not mispronouncing that. I think it's Sandria or Sandria. Why am I so dumb? I'm putting your name up here. Thank you so much. Let me show you what she got me. So I do already have these, but I have 3 pairs now. 2 blues, 1 brown, and guess who pierced her ears to have extra holes? Me, bitch. Maybe I'll have to do a look with like all eyeballs, like just hanging. These are the other pair, and I don't think the problem with my earlobe is that it's so wanga loose, like the bitch has a mind of its own. I don't think these earrings would stay up on me. See, or am I doing it wrong? What am I doing wrong? How do you put these on? But they're so cute. These are my favorite. What the heck? Beetlejuice. Anyway, you guys spoiled me so much. Thank you so much for even sending me anything to my PO box. I really appreciate it. So this story was told to this girl by her grandmother, and this happened to her grandmother when she was really young. So yes, this is an old story, but it's a good story, but a sad story, but a good one, but a sad one, but a good one, but a sad one, but a good one, but a sad one. So when this girl's grandmother was a child, she had this uncle named Sepharino who she thought was really weird. And the older Uncle Sepharino would get, the stranger he became. She would sometimes find him talking to himself. She would sometimes see him talking to the forest. So yeah, she thought he was really weird. It was very rare that her uncle would talk about his childhood or where they lived, but it was in Zacatecas. Her grandmother does remember going to that place as a child, but basically saying that the entire place was abandoned, it was old, it was falling apart, and nobody really lived there anymore. So it was her grandmother's birthday again. She is a child at the time, and they threw her a birthday party, but she noticed how Tio Sepharino wasn't really involved. She saw him sitting by himself, and she went up to him just to keep him company, and that's when Tio Sepharino admitted to her that birthdays really made him sad. She explains how Tio Sepharino looked around, just making sure nobody was listening to him, and he decided to explain to her why birthdays made him sad. When he was a young boy, he had a sister named Clarita. He shared a bedroom with his sister, and there was one night where he woke up because he heard his sister talking to somebody, but he couldn't see who she was talking to because it was dark in the room. At the time, he had a bed and she slept on a floor like on a mat. He laid there, he couldn't go back to sleep, and he explains how he just wanted to stay very still and quiet just to hear who the heck she was talking to. After a while, he admits that he started to hear a couple of voices talking back to his sister. He got very curious, and after that night, it was like his mission to get up in the middle of the night just to hear who his sister was talking to, and every night he would hear people talking to his sister and her talking to them back. So in Mexico, sometimes the houses do not have restrooms inside of the house. They have them outside, and it's basically just a hole. So on one particular night where he was spying on her yet again, he noticed that she left outside of the window and was walking towards the direction of the restroom outside. Obviously, he was very curious, and he also got out through the window and kind of stayed at a distance from her, but he could still see her. As he's watching her, he's noticing that she didn't enter the restroom, that she actually went straight towards the forest. That is where he knew that something really strange was going on. That is where he sees them. He sees that his sister is surrounded by little duendes. He said they looked like they were little dolls. They were dressed in old-timey clothing, and that he can see them smiling at his sister. He could clearly see when his sister was offering these duendes flowers and sweetbread and toys, and the duendes were accepting those gifts. When Tio Sepharino sees this, obviously he's a kid. He is very scared, so he runs back home, crawls in through the window, and goes back into bed and covers himself from head to toe, very scared at what he had just witnessed. A few days after he witnessed this, he says that his sister came up to him and told him, "Hey, you're not gonna see me anymore. You're not gonna see me for a long time. I don't want you to tell anybody, and I also don't want you to cry when I'm not here. You just have to believe that one day you're gonna see me again, okay? Even though it's gonna seem like it's gonna be a long time, you will see me again one day." That same night, Uncle Sepharino sees Clarita go through the window, go into the forest, and he never saw her again. That was also the reason why his family left that town, abandoned that town. They couldn't stand living there because they don't know where their daughter went or who kidnapped her or where she could be, and they were just all really sad and couldn't stand living there anymore. But Uncle Sepharino still had that promise that his sister told him that they would be seeing each other again. Uncle Sepharino was really sad that his family decided to abandon that place because he thought, what if she comes back? What if the duendes bring her back and they see that the house house is abandoned and they just decided to take her back to the forest and not leave her there. Like, he was so worried because he knew the promise that his sister made to him, and he didn't want to leave because he wanted his sister to come back, and he was scared that she was gonna see that maybe they abandoned her. So this is the story that he told the girl's grandmother on her birthday, and the grandmother said that he just started crying and he wouldn't stop. I mean, can you believe this? Like, years have passed, because obviously Tio Sepharino is an adult now telling this little girl the story about his sister, and it's eating him up inside, very obviously. She says that after telling her the story, he just got up crying and he decided to take a little walk around and just catch some air. She admits that after that, she could see that he was always sad, and that's why he's always been very strange and very weird to her, because there was just something eating him up inside that as a child she couldn't see until he told her that story. One day they were trying to look for Tio Sepharino, but he was not in his bedroom. They were worried because they couldn't find him. He was already older, so they were like, where could he have gone? He's not in his room. So they decided to go in town and ask if anybody had seen him. Somebody in town did admit that they saw him and that he was asking for a ride back home to Zacatecas, where that abandoned house is. The family decided to get into the cars and go all the way to Zacatecas to go and find him. They didn't see him. They couldn't find him when they got there, but there was really fresh footprints on the dirt that led up to the forest in his old abandoned house. No one had been there for a very long time, so everybody knew that it has to be Tio Sepharino. It was only then where the grandmother's little brother at the time came up to his family and told them that the last time they were there, he saw Tio Sepharino talking to the forest and laughing, but like, he didn't see anybody there. He just heard him laughing and talking. The family did go into the forest to try to look for Tio Sepharino, and unfortunately, he was never found again. And like I said, the grandmother is now an older lady. She has grandchildren, and Tio Sepharino was never ever found again. Like I said, this story is kind of sad, but my only hope is that maybe he is with his sister. Maybe he went to be with his sister. Maybe they reunited and she kept her promise. But what do you guys think?